Sometimes we have the driver using a particular car, and we have given a name to that car. That name is not the name of the driver. Ultimately, we are to expand our consciousness until it becomes unlimited consciousness. And that is what we call God. Religion minus spirituality is actually a deviation. There is a deviation. I'm Muslim, I'm Christian, I'm. And beloved brothers and sisters, spirituality in nation building. Spirituality must be understood what it is, then how it can help in nation building can then be also understood. Spirituality, whatever is other than spirit, must be reduced, must be loosened. Once it happens that way, then we can say there is spirituality, because what is left behind when illusions are cleared, what is left behind is spirit. The false identity is not spirit. False identity covers up spirituality. So, in a country, in a nation, we begin with false identity from babyhood, each person. The false identity as a baby is quite less, but we let it grow. We add to it. For example, spirit has no name. It is a body. Then we add a name to the body. The name is the name of the equipment, the body. Sometimes we have the driver using a particular car, and we have given a name to that car. That name is not the name of the driver. If you are driving a Benz saloon car, it is not your name. It is the name of the car. The car is made, and then a name is given it. The spirit owns the body. The spirit weaves the body and gives it a name. And that name is an addition, something you have added to the equipment. Any other thing we add, we are increasing the false identity. Initially, the false identity is just that small body we call baby. Then we begin to add to it. We connect relations to it. We connect clothing to the baby. We give it food. It is an addition, something added. So the thing that is soul is now taken as a possession. When it says my body, now it says in addition my clothing, in addition my name, in addition my home, in addition my parents, in addition my siblings, in addition my family, extended family, in addition my village, in addition my district, in addition my region, in addition my country, my. They are all additions you are adding to your false identity. All these things, my, they weaken the spirit's self-expression. So, anything we call ourselves other than spirit is actually false. Temporal something. It is like a mask that we are wearing. The real you is there, and you put these things upon yourself. Just the same way as we intentionally take a mask for a purpose, to entertain. We take the body to enjoy. So, as we add to this body, at some point, we keep claiming. And it continues on and on. And then something goes on. What we have claimed for ourselves and what others have claimed for themselves, we want to draw a rigid line between the two. But spirit goes beyond boundaries. So no rigid boundary for spirit. In fact, spirit is an expanded being. But in the human situation, we draw lines around us, we cover ourselves up, and most of these things are imaginary. For example, when we say a place is a country, it is all imaginary lines. When you walk around where they call the border, the frontier, you find that there are no markings. It's just imaginary in our minds that from here to there is part of my possession, our country. Now, the other things we have added until we get the country, each of them we expand our spirit energy to cover it. So when you say, my home, your spirit expands awareness to cover the home. Just the same way you see something like a Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi sends its energy to some distance. So if you say, my district, within your mind, you are establishing a field for your spiritual consciousness, for your spiritual energy to expand to cover. And anybody who expands to cover the same becomes your relation. So if you cover your home and somebody is in the home, is your sibling, is your parent, and they also expand to cover the same home, that makes you understand each other as related, connected. So the connection is more than physical. And we expand to cover a whole region within our minds. And those in that region, each of them covers the region in the mind, in the energy expansion. And for that matter, anybody who is not expanding to cover that area is foreign, is somebody else. So we unite based on expansion of our consciousness. Now, if you have expanded to cover yourself as a tribe, somebody is not in that tribe, it means the awareness is not expanding to cover the tribe consciousness. In this way, we say he is other than you. So you form that kind of unity based on expansion of your consciousness. If you can expand to cover the region, what it means is that you have lessened or loosened the lines you drew for the district. So you go beyond the district. When you expanded to cover the district, it means you expanded beyond your town or village. If we expand beyond the regions and we get to that of the country, then the lines of regions have become they have been reduced in impact on the mind. If you make them rigid, If you make that of the tribes rigid, there is no unity. You can't expand to cover a country like Ghana if you are rigid with the tribe lines. You don't want to expand. If you are rigid with regional lines, you don't want to expand, then there cannot be something we call Ghana. If one is able to expand like this, and the other person expands, and we all expand to cover the same space, then we say we are nationals of this particular area because our consciousness has been expanded to cover. Our awareness is expanded to cover that area. Beloved brothers and sisters, this achievement of expanding beyond the tribal lines, regional lines, district lines, and coming to that of the nation can really be a force to reckon with as a nation. And the nation becomes very formidable, very strong. Now, there are things I would like you to understand, that ultimately, we are to expand our consciousness until it becomes unlimited consciousness. And that is what we call God. When it expands fully, then one can say, now, that zonal consciousness has merged into the Father. I and the Father are one. The I, which you define with a name, limiting you with name, limiting you with place, limiting you with tribe, race. You have expanded beyond it until it is fully expanded. And when it is fully expanded, remember what the Christ said. Foxes have holes, but for me not. So, foxes have created holes for themselves and they limit it in their consciousness. This is my place. We see the animals, they fight for their territories. Humans are doing the same. But if you understand deeply, then you know it is false identity that we are defending. So in any case, when we have expanded from just the home, we are expanding our consciousness to that of the district. In fact, we have improved. If we expand it to the region, we have improved. We expand it to the country, we have improved. And we expand to the continent, it's even more of improvement. That is why one of the pioneers in this country was saying, without the liberation of the continent, the liberation of this country is meaningless. Such persons are rare. You see, expanding. He expanded to cover Ghana. And Ghana was everything to him. But he kept on growing and expanded his awareness to cover Africa. And we have great souls who have walked on this planet. They expand to cover the whole universe. And they actually enter into God's presence, because God is beyond the lines we draw. Sometimes it's funny when we say God's country. God, you draw lines for God. It's beyond. Your spirit is part of God, so your spirit actually wants liberation from all this limiting. Now, spirituality in nation building. Since the nation is more expanded than a region, than a tribe, then it is more important to expand to that state, because there is evolution. We expand, we keep expanding, because your spirit is radiant. Radiant means just like the sun, sending out energy, sending out awareness. So when you become aware of a country, it is much better than being aware just as a tribe, as a region. That is also a certain level people reach, but we need to expand beyond it. So the step we reach, and we call it country, by and by we will even grow beyond it. But it is a good step to start with, so that we loosen all the other rigid bonds that we create over ourselves. So, beloved brothers and sisters, spirituality means when we are able to loosen our hold on limitations on ourselves. We are spirits, so whatever limits us is non-spiritual. When we are able to cross a barrier, then we are becoming more spiritual. In the country, if you are able to expand, even within the country, you are able to expand beyond certain lines, like even human versus human organizations, movements, societies. Then we can see ourselves as one people. Though ultimately we have to grow beyond that also, but it is a good step. On the national level, it's a good step. You are evolving, and your evolution means you are expanding. There is no spirituality when we limit ourselves so much. So the person who has expanded to cover the nation is more spiritual than the one who has limited himself to a tribe, or one who has limited himself to a region. Spirituality means drawing closer to the nature of God. And God is expanded being, fully expanded being. You can't catch him inside all these limitations, rigid lines we draw. If you can catch God inside a rigid line you draw, then he's not God. He's beyond all lines. So, beloved brothers and sisters, let us look at the nation and yourself. It begins with yourself. So if you expand your consciousness and the other person expands, then your light that you have expanded merges into the other one's own, and it goes on, and there is unity. And together, all these lights together collectively, cumulatively, amounts to such a huge presence of light, spiritual energy in that country. Very strong, very powerful. If you have a town, a small town, let's say a village, and there are light poles in the street light poles, and let's say the light poles are 10 covering the village. If some of the lights have gone off, and let's say we have only 2 which are lit and they are bright, we still can't see so much brightness in the village. So the overall light on the village is depending on how many of the individual poles are switched on. If any light grows dim, it affects the whole presence of light in the village. Any addition to that light brightens the village more and more. So somebody coming from outside the village in the night, he comes upon just such wonderful brightness in the whole village. The same way the country, the individuals that we are shining. That is why it is said, you are the light of this world. The scripture says, you are the light of this world. So in a country, these individual lights, the quantity, the number of people who are shining in energy versus the number of people whose lights are down. This will determine the country's own brightness. I'm talking in terms of spiritual energy. So the spiritual energy of a country, this may be a new topic to you, but it is true, I'm telling you. Each country, every moment, the number of people in that country, the population, the total brightness of their aura brought together determines the brightness of aura for the country. Your energy around you, the country is also having energy around it based on the total, when we total all the energies of the people present in the country. If you travel to some country, the moment you enter the zone, the country is filled, where the people living there have expanded their consciousness to cover that country. If the people have more people who are, among them, more who are having bright energies, bright aura, strong aura, expanded aura, and they have fewer people who have low energy or low frequency, then that country will be attracting a lot of good things. The aura is magnetic. So the total magnetism in the country depends on the individual people's aura brought together. And that makes them deserve what comes to them. If the aura of the people is down, I mean majority, more than 50% of the people, their aura is down, then they have weak magnetism. When they have weak magnetism and brought together, the whole nation is having weak magnetism. So when it is like that, the country cannot attract good things. They have difficulty trying to get things for the country. It's not naturally attracted. So they struggle to try to get. And when they even get, it sneaks from their hands, because you have to deserve. Everything works according to laws. How do you deserve it? If the individuals expand their consciousness, expand their energy light, then they deserve. They have the power to attract, and things fall in place for them. Watch out. The other countries where things are going well, they also have down side of things, down people who are inimical, people who are having negative emotions dominating them. But then, why are they attracting something good into their countries? They are attracting it because when we put the ratio, the number of people whose aura is more expanded, that means the positive attitude, positive mind, and we compare it with those who are negative. Those people who are positive have toppled over they go beyond 50%, then that country can be attracting good things. They deserve it. Poverty comes upon a country because each individual becomes poor based on the aura. If your aura is weak, Your spiritual energy is dim. You cannot attract good things. So collectively, if more people in the country have weak spiritual magnetism, then the overall energy level for the country is low compared to those in the country who have strong magnetism. And when it is like that, the country hustles, struggles, looking for good things, and they don't get. Any good thing that comes slips off from their hands just because they have not deserved it. If you use some means to get it, it just leaves. You lose it. The law is the law. Deserve it first, and it comes to be with you. So we have a duty to actually transform our consciousness. How we can do that? Most of the things we attach ourselves to, rigid lines we have drawn around us, limits your spiritual light. When you say, I am, what you join with it can limit you. When you say, I am spirit, sincerely, you say it, you are a liberated person. Because spirit has no name. Spirit has no form. It comes to adopt, to possess a form, to possess a name. So form, name, all those things belong to this external world. Spirit is an expanded being and enters into God realization. So it's not a separate entity to be called a name. Yes. Most of the time, a baby is born and then we tag a name to the baby. When the baby is in the womb, it is only recent times, technology, medical science have reached where they can determine whether the baby is male or female, and so on. So when the baby is there and it's not even known whether it's male or female, how do you call the baby a name? It's only when the baby has come out. So it is just a spirit. So spirit doesn't have a name. See, the thing to understand is this. To become spiritual means reducing the false identity, the things of possessions. There is somebody who went to the Christ and said, oh, I want to follow you. I want to just be really a strong follower. Then he said, oh, just go follow the rules, the commandments. And then this man said, oh, if that is it, I'm already qualified. Then the Christ said, if you have been following that, there is something else. It's not just that. So simply following commandments is not that. But the attachments in our minds, the lines we draw, my, So my tribe, my name, my this, my, drop them. Because the Son of Man, foxes have holes, but the Son of Man has none of these. That means the spirit is not involved in my. But if you drop all these minds and you are including others in your consciousness, then you are becoming more spiritual, because God includes all existence. Spirit is expanded being. All existence is included in God. So when you are expanding beyond the limitations, the lines we've drawn for ourselves, that is where we are becoming spiritual. And for Ghana, for a country, any nation, they can be doing well only if the individuals are doing well. The individuals, majority, more than 50%, are doing well in the sense that they don't hold limitations to themselves. They grow beyond it, and that is what is called patriotism. Patriotism means actually that one has expanded his awareness to cover the country. So it is not my body, my name, my tribe, my town, my district, my region, but my country. And that is more expanded. And it's much better. Beloved, look at this. When there is something like a game of football, and people have all these rigid lines, my tribe, my region, and so on. And sometimes some think they are better than others. Now, imagine the football, the country is in tournament, and there is somebody who plays very well, and he is in the tribe that your tribe looks down upon them. Now, if your tribe looks down upon them, they are somebody else. Somebody is from there and he's playing so well, people temporarily, they forget that this person comes from where you look down upon, and this person, they adore him. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. And now they are proud he's a Ghanaian. Yes. They are proud that Ghana is moving forward. And when they say Ghana, it includes that tribe. When they say Ghana, it includes that region. Why can't we clear off in our minds? These imaginary lines can be there for some purposes, but deep in our consciousness, it should be ironed out. We're one people. It doesn't matter what region, what town. And the same things are going on even in religions. Very pathetic. My religion, your religion. My, they are all traps in the consciousness. See, most of the countries where people are doing very well, the country is doing very good. Watch out. How many rigid lines do they permit inside a country? Very few. Even the lesson, they work very hard to sort of loosen the lines. Even if they have such lines, comparatively, the number of people who have overcome these rigid lines, if it is more than 50%, that country will progress. But if the people who are holding rigid lines are more than 50%, that country will be poor. Because they hold limitations on themselves. You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are not the name. Yes. Spirit is not tribal. Spirit is not regional. You don't belong to a region as a spirit. And by, our aim is even to transcend country. But if you come that far, you expand up to country level, it's an achievement. Because what we are looking for is expansion. Then after achieving that, then we aim at the continent. And you expand. Well, spirituality is not a question of maybe there is a difference between spirituality and spiritualism. Spiritualism involves a lot of practices connected with beliefs and rituals and all that. But spirituality concerns spirit, concerns God. God is spirit. So if spirit is inside you, it means God is inside you. You are the spirit. Beloved brothers and sisters, get this very clear. If you travel from one country to the other, the moment you enter the airspace of that country, the aura of the people in that country is actually encountered by you. As you get down from the plane and your foot touches on the ground, that country, the aura of that country meets your aura. And if it harmonizes with you, then things will go well for you there. If the aura of the country doesn't harmonize with you, no matter what, you can't do well in that country. So your own aura must function in such a way that it can unite, it can harmonize. Even beyond your country, you expand. If you have that ability to expand your awareness, then you become a universal being, And even though you may be in Ghana, if somebody comes from another country, you don't see another because your consciousness has expanded to cover the whole world. But that is very high. But yet that is the goal we have to reach, where our field of consciousness, whoever enters, we have expanded to cover everybody. That is the spiritual aim, the aim of spirituality. For now, if we have expanded to cover the country, that is a good step. But remember, it becomes a reality that you are a Ghanaian only when you have overcome the rigid lines you've drawn for yourself from the beginning. Yes. So you belong to all the regions of Ghana. All the districts of Ghana, you belong to them. Everywhere is your concern. And that is where we can say you are a patriot. You have patriotism. It means your consciousness is expanded to cover everybody. Beloved brothers and sisters, this is achievable. It is achievable. How do we go about it? All those who are leaders, and in fact, if I say leaders, even at home, the mom, the parents are leaders for the children. Or even a grown-up child can be a leader for the other siblings. In the churches, the pastors, they are the leaders there. The teachers in the schools, they are leaders there. Every area there are leaders. And the leaders have the responsibility of expanding their consciousness to cover the whole nation. And when they do so, then it is infectious. The children or those who are under them will be picking it. And when they pick it, then their aura expands beyond their tribe. Their aura expands beyond their regions. And this will actually bring a wonderful result. The result is that we'll be very spiritual. To conclude it, we need to expand to include the land, to include the trees, to include the animals. Countries where the expansion includes the animals, the expansion includes the trees, the expansion of awareness includes the land, they get a very powerful force. The unity includes everything on that land. And this is spirituality. Expansion is spiritual. Closer to nature is closer to God. Expand. Watch out. Those countries, they may have their own shortcomings in this expansion system. Some talk of certain group of people, they don't like them and all that. But they make up for it from another angle. They expand to love animals, love the plants, love the land. And once they do like this, it is pluses and minuses. So if they close their mind to a certain group of people, that is minus. When they expand their minds to cover things like animals and plants and the land, it's plus, plus, plus. And these are the reasons sometimes the percentage they get is higher than the minuses. So if in our land here, we can expand to cover the humans, human versus human, let us expand beyond it. Then human versus animals, let us expand to cover them up, bring them in the circle. Then we expand to include the trees. And then we expand to include the land, the mountains, the rivers, and everything. And in this way, it is really a powerful place. So we can make this country a powerful place. The aura of the country, if I say aura, the spiritual energy of the country would then be very, very strong. Yes. So this is spirituality in the building of a nation, and all leaders should take the lead in expanding their awareness. But it begins with each individual, and if one person today changes the mindset, and this person expands in consciousness, then the overall presence of spiritual energy in Ghana has been increased by one person increasing his own or her own. If another person does it, there is increase again in the overall light of the country. So if one person here, one person there, one person there, then the energy, overall energy of the country becomes wider and wider, stronger and stronger, and the nation can attract wonderful things. And we'll be surprised we wouldn't need to be struggling like this. Yes. Remember the saying that if people who are having low energy, low spiritual magnetism, if they are transported to a place where the people there are having the magnetism and things are working for them, and those people too are transported to the place of weakness, after a while, that place, that nation where those people have come to will begin to change. An attraction, because the attraction is collectively dominating on the positive side. So it will draw new things to that place. And where the weak magnetism people have gone to, they will also spoil that place. Because poverty will come upon them despite they live in the midst of all the great things people have built. Yes, there is that saying, and it is true. So it is a question of the individuals changing their magnetism. And you can boost your magnetism when you actually throw out the rigid lines you have drawn over yourself. There is this small creature locally in Ghana, they call it a bubu maba. A bubu maba is a small creature. It breaks pieces of twigs, and it just weaves them over itself. It covers itself with it, and it's inside it. But every part is covered. But how it does it is a mystery. And it is called Abubu Maba. And the problem is that humans are doing the same. We just form these things to cover ourselves, lines. My religion, my. All minds are actually false identity. Spirit is not having a mind here. It will leave them all. So spirit is not involved in all these things. It's the mind and body connection. So let us do our best to sort of minimize, loosen the rigidity of the lines we have drawn around ourselves. That is bondage. Yes. You may find yourself inside it, but inside your mind, try to soften these lines. Otherwise, there's no question of spirituality. Even if you are in a group learning, practicing something, if you become too rigid, like others are lost, and we are the found people, like in the case in various religions. Even the days of worship, we draw rigid lines around it. If you don't worship this day, then you are lost. And the other worships on a different day, they are lost. They don't know what is what. Rigidity of this kind can be on the physical plane, mental plane, but it's not spiritual. Spirit is beyond all these things. Every single day, spirit, liberated spirit, doesn't have a particular time or place. Like we say, some place is a holy place, we attach to it. Spirit has none of these. They are all body connections, worldly connections. Yes, it is true. So the spirituality we had here in Africa was much better in the past. I remember even when I was a kid, when we have to eat, our parents, with their siblings, my daddy's siblings and others, many, even there were those who were not directly in the family, but they were all together, and they set a large table, and people sit all around it, and their wives will bring food, And it's not like this one is from this one. They just get them all together and they put one on the table, and all of them, their hand go into it. After that one, the next one is placed on the table. All of them, their hand go into it. They will be eaten. What does that mean? The rigid lines, my, let us kill it. And they were spiritual. They're spiritual. Too many lines we are drawing. And we are departing from spirituality. Yes. Religion minus spirituality is actually a deviation. It is a deviation. I'm Muslim, I'm Christian, I'm. And when love comes from the Spirit and is expanded, you see one Christian, one Muslim, and the love connects them, and rigidity says, no way. Spirit is beyond these things, but we cover ourselves with rigidity. Oh dear. Love comes from Spirit, and love transcends all these limitations we make for ourselves. And yet, we destroy the spirituality in the name of all these various lines we draw to cover ourselves. Beloved brothers and sisters, so I'm leaving you with this note that you try as an individual, brighten the corner where you are. What does it mean? So expand your spiritual awareness wherever you are, and you break the chains. You break. You see, inside the egg, there is a chick, and the chick heats up as it grows, as it expands. Then the barrier, which is the shell that it is in, gets heated. At a point, it just breaks and it's liberated. And it is the same thing. We need to liberate our spirits. And then for the first time, the chick comes to the open space. No more in that egg. And we should see that the same principle, all the rigidity, is limiting your soul. But it's a false thing. We need to break it. Beloved brothers and sisters, thank you for this.